What's going on, guys? It's the Epicado here, and I'm finally back with another video. It's been way too long for this, but I'm back. Um, I've decided this time I'm not going to be doing a gaming video, though it is related to gaming. But as you can see, and probably from the title, I'm doing a tier list on the characters from Nuclear Throne. Alright, now this video isn't going to be too long, I hope, but I am going to be going into detail about every single character and why I place it where I place it. But enough talking. Let's get into it. And first character we have is Fish. Now Fish is an interesting character where he's very good, just straight up. He's really good. He gets extra ammo, and he can the dodge roll is really fun to use, just in general. He can be quite powerful if you get the right guns. And he's a good character in that it doesn't particularly matter what mutations you get, you are going to have a good time with Fish. However, his problem is if you're bad at dodging and bad at using the dodge roll, it isn't too hard to get used to it, but it can really throw some people off using it for the first time or so, and people will often just turn away from him. But yes, Fish, good character, have a great time playing with him. Crystal. Now, Crystal's broken OP, there's nothing to be said about it, moving on. No, but to actually be realistic though, Crystal is incredibly powerful. You can become immune to all damage for 5 seconds, wait like half a second, and then you can become immune to all damage again. And if that wasn't enough, you can actually you get an extra 2 HP. So make of that what you will, I guess. She's ridiculously powerful. Eyes is pretty bad. Just straight out the gate, Eyes is pretty bad. Eyes has telekinesis, pulls enemies towards him. If you're using a melee weapon, which you should, melee weapons are the best weapons in the game, in my opinion. If you're using a melee weapon, he can be effective. That's all I can say. It helps that bullets are slowed, but it's just not enough in the bullet hell that Nuclear Throne can be. His passive ability, being able to see in the dark, it's garbage. It doesn't help you at all, really. Kind of pointless, that one. Now, Melting. Melting is an interesting character because you're gonna have he's probably the most fun character in the entire game once you get used to him. He's incredibly enjoyable to use, just blowing everyone up and just getting mutations all the time. It's so much fun, but he's hard. He's like really hard. He takes so long to get used to. If you're a beginner player, like Melting's right there and will stay there for a very long time. But if you know how to use him, I want to put him in Broken OP, but that's just basically Crystal's tier. I'm gonna put Melting here. Melting is definitely one of the most powerful, one of the most fun, once you get to know him. But he takes a really long time to get to know, so yeah. Plant. Now, Plant is a pretty Plant is an interesting character. Sure, you get extra speed, which can be helpful, allows you to speedrun the game, I guess. The snare can be useful against some bosses. Little Hunter, I'm looking at you. You escape my snare every time. But Big Dog, the Throne, yeah, it can be useful. It can be useful, the snare. But like he's got nothing special. That's his problem. Young Venice. A lot of people will disagree with me, but Young Venice is really just like overpraised. Like he's Young Venice, he's the gun god, of course. Yes, I get that. But like higher rate of fire, it's okay, and pop. I mean, higher rate of fire. Sorry, higher rate of fire is good. It's good. It's just good. But pop is good as well, I guess. He's just good. And he's not the same tier as Plant, I've realized. I'm gonna put Plant back down to eyes, I've realized. Yeah. Alright, we'll move on to Steroids. And now Steroids, interesting character. Sorry, not really an interesting character at all. He can dual wield, and less accuracy. I mean, yeah, that's about it. I mean, it helps that he gets extra ammo, but it's just for the start of the game. His ability to dual wield can be powerful, but Young Venice just is the better version of Steroids. Robot. Now, Robot is a cool character. He can eat weapons you don't need, which can just be an extra ammo and health boost. It's nothing special. But he becomes a real gem when you take into consideration his passive, which allows him to find better weapons earlier on. Now, there's a whole complicated system on how weapons work. You can search on the wiki for it, but basically, it allows you to get better a weapon one level before you're supposed to be able to get it with other characters. So, for example, the auto crossbow, which can only start spawning on the world 3-2, will spawn at 3-1 for Robot, and it's a lot better than it sounds. It's really good to have those better weapons just earlier on, better chance to have them before you fight the throne. He's just good. Like, there's nothing wrong with him. He's just kind of a perfectly fine character. Now, Chicken. Chicken is a very weird character in that he has the worst active ability in the game. Just straight out of the bat. He will basically throw his weapon away. It doesn't make a lot of sense as a game mechanic, and that's why I'm putting him here, because he just doesn't have it's just not there. His active. But, however, saying that, his passive ability is one of the best passive abilities. Still not enough to bring him to the OK tier. Still pretty bad, but definitely top of the bad. Like, because his passive ability allows him to basically not die for a longer period of time. Like, you're gonna get further with Chicken. And yeah. His sword is pretty good as well, I guess, I should say. It's not amazing. Still rather take, like, the golden wrench. but his sword is pretty good. Rebel, Rebel's great. Rebel's just good. Rebel can summon allies. Now, you should be using your allies because they do act as a meat shield, and they do a surprising amount of damage considering how weak and cushy their bullets look. But they do a lot of damage. And of course, her passive ability is ridiculous. You just heal half of your missing HP. You heal it back. It's just so useful. Talking about Rebel, I've realized I think Robot is moving down to the OK tier. Now, Horror. Horror is okay. Top of okay, I would say, because his Rad Beam is so underwhelming at times. It just never does enough damage. If you have the Throne Butt, you can use it to heal, but like, what are you going to use it against? Big Dog, the Throne, that's about it. So, it's just, you're only going to use it on those large enemies, and it's just not worth it to use that. His passive ability is great, though. That's why I've put him above Robot. His passive ability, it's just so good. You get the mutations you need. You don't have to waste runs trying to get the mutations only to get it ruined by some bad mutation luck. It's just useful. Rogue is awful. We can all agree on that. Awful passive and an awful active. If you're using Rogue, yeah, you're not going to be able to take it. It's just, Rogue has that kind of effect where you just kind of have to give up, because Rogue will summon IDP, you get less rads, you get distracted by when something hits you, by the explosion that it causes, and the active ability is so hard to use. It's not like Melting, where it's like a hard mode on the game. No, Rogue is just annoying and frustrating to use. Just straight up. Now, this is probably where I should be leaving it, because I have not played with Skeleton or Frog. I only know what they do and how to unlock them, but I have never played with them myself. So take everything I say from here as a grain of salt, with a grain of salt. But this tier list, this is my final tier list right here. Now, Skeleton. Now, Skeleton, if you don't know, this is spoilers, by the way. Skeleton will basically, you get Skeleton by dying as Melting in one of the necromancy circles that the necromancers do to summon back freaks. He's not particularly good. He gets 2 extra HP than Melting, so he has 4 HP. And he has the ability Blood Gamble, which allows you to use your weapon without using ammo, but there's a chance for your health to go down. I've never understood how it could be useful at all. But, so yeah, like, I don't know about Skeleton. Like, I really can't say he's that good. Yeah. Frog. Now, Frog is an interesting character in which you need to be pretty experienced in the game to get Frog. But And he will basically, to start with him, you need the golden frog pistol. Search up how to get that. I'm not going to spoil it here. And then basically that character, whenever you use the golden frog pistol with that character, with a certain character, that character will be replaced with Frog when you enter the game. Now, Frog's a pretty weird character in that he can't stop moving. He gets toxic immunity, which can be helpful to his active, which is allows him to stop moving, and depending on how long you hold his active, he will release a certain amount of gas and then continue continuously moving. He has toxic immunity, which does allow him to actually use his active without dying. Apart from that, it's not too useful. I bet he'd be a fun character to use, but I don't think it'd be too good. Probably more fun than Eyes, but I wouldn't say he's much better. Alright, well that's been my tier list for this game. Tell me down below what you think. If you disagree, agree, I'm happy to listen and I'll reply to the comments. But I appreciate you being here. Thanks. This is the Epicado. Peace.